Hi friends, praise be to Jesus Christ. In the previous video, we saw the first Gahanta prayer in depth. Today, we would be looking at the rest. After the prayer of dialogue, the second Gahanta prayer begins. As usual, it starts with a supplication prayer or the Kushapa of the priest. Here, the celebrant prays to free his mind from all that is not in accord with the holy sacrifice and to have love and solidarity with all and self-confidence to offer the Holy Qurbana with hope. Second Gahanta prayer follows it. The chief purpose of this prayer is to praise and thank the Trine God in the person of God the Father on account of His salvific plan. God's love and mercy towards His creation are presented here. In short, it is a supreme thanksgiving to the Father for the creation. In this prayer, we find an awesome expression. Multitudes of heavenly hosts and thousands upon thousands of holy angels and hosts of spiritual ministers of fire and spirit bow down and adore you, O Most High. We find this heavenly worship in the book of Prophet Isaiah, in the book of Daniel, the book of Revelation, and the letter to the Hebrews. This precedes a canona, inviting the worshipping community to praise our loving God, singing together with the angels. As a response to this canona, the congregation sings the holy hymn. This hymn is rich with the biblical passages. The first part of this hymn is from the book of Isaiah, chapter 6, verse 3, while the second and third are from the book of Revelation, chapter 4, verse 8, and the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 21, verse 9, respectively. This reminds us that the Holy Qurbana is a great mystery realized in the union of a heavenly and earthly choirs in the church. Here, the heaven descends to the earth and earth ascends up to the heaven. It is interesting to know that this hymn has its root in a Jewish prayer called Kedusha, a prayer in Judaism which describes God's holiness. But what makes this hymn a Christian hymn? It is the Benedictus, or the line, "Blessed is he who came and is to come in the name of the Lord," which is taken from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 21, verse 9. Now, what makes our Qurbana special? The fact that makes our Qurbana special is that, along with the Kedusha and Benedictus, we have the line, "Hosanna to the Son of David." In short, our Hosanna hymn has three components. First, the Kedusha. Second, the Benedictus, which makes it Christian. And third, the phrase "Son of David," which is peculiar to our Syro-Malabar Church. Do you know what this means? It means any song in this place without the Benedictus and the phrase "Son of David" is just a Kedusha prayer of the Jews, and it has nothing to do with the Christian hymn. Meanwhile, the priest recites a supplication prayer which marks the starting of the third Gahanta cycle. This supplication prayer has three parts. The first part praises the holiness of God and proclaims the personal involvement of each person in the Trinity in the plan of salvation. The second part includes a prayer of the priest with the disposition of Jacob the forefather and prophet Isaiah, who had heavenly visions. Here, the priest is standing in the sanctuary, which symbolizes the heaven and is nearest to the altar, which is the throne of God. In the third part, the priest prays for his sanctification and prays that the hymns of the earthly beings join with those of the heavenly beings. This is followed by the request for prayer because the priest who is in the presence of God, becoming more aware of his sinful state and unworthiness, again requests the help of the assembly through prayer. This precedes the third Gahanta prayer. The thanksgiving prayer is divided into two, inserting the institution narrative in between. This prayer begins with the thanksgiving to God, whose salvific plan was fulfilled in Jesus Christ and instituted the Holy Qurbana so that the salvation might be available to all till the end of the world. Holy Qurbana, as we know, is the enactment of the salvific action of Jesus Christ. This is followed by the institution narrative, the place which we consider the most important. Now, let us hear something very interesting about it. The institution narrative explicitly did not exist in the Kudasha of Mar Addai and Marmari, but it was added on later. None of the anaphora as old as of Mar Addai and Marmari have the institution narrative. Only the anaphora of the latter centuries have these narratives. So, this shows that the anaphora or Kudasha is valid even without them. But the Western Church, who was influenced by the scholastic tradition, believed that the gifts become body and blood of Christ during the institution narrative. And therefore, when the Western missionaries encountered the liturgy of St. Thomas Christians here in India, the lack of narrative made them feel a bit uneasy. As a result, the then Kalyan Metropolitan Mar Joseph Sulaka introduced the institution narrative with the explicit words of consecration in the Eucharistic liturgy of the St. Thomas Christians around the year 1558. But he had introduced the narrative after the anaphora. Later, on 12th of May 1960, when there was a reformed Taxa which was published in India in Syriac language, the institution narrative was placed in between the anaphora of Mar Addai and Marmari. Therefore, we can see that the institution narrative began to be said in between the anaphora only after 1962. Dear friends, in the next video, we will be dealing with the institution narrative and all that follows it. Till then, bye bye. See you for the next video.